I want to make sure you guys know that we're recording this interview.
Yes.
Okay. All right. We are here with Michelle Sandoval and Rosy McDonough. Michelle is the president and Rosy Aburto McDonough is the executive director of the Hispanic Contractors of Colorado. And they are nice enough to sit down with us today and have a conversation about their organization and what services they provide. So let's start off with a question. Tell me about yourself and how you became involved with HCC. Rosy, do you want to go first? Oh, I think you're muted, Rosy.
I come from the governor's office under the Minority Business Office, and I was serving as a board member for Hispanic Contractors of Colorado. For me, the way I got involved with the group is they do an amazing work at helping small businesses obtain the knowledge, the connections, and have a voice in the construction industry, and that's one of the passions that I have personally. And so very happy to be here and blessed to be working with a fantastic board. You know, we share a lot of different things in common, and I just feel at home.
Great. How about you, Michelle?
So I work for a general contractor, Swinnerton Builders, and we have a corporate goal diversity program that we always want to meet. And so I represent, I wear multiple hats, from marketing manager, business development, as well as the community outreach. And before I got transferred to this group, I used to work in the federal division. And so I used to travel across the country looking how I can partner with small businesses and subcontractors. And when I got transferred to the Colorado group, HCC was really a godsend because it incorporated so many groups. It included minority businesses, women, small businesses, as well as from architects to engineers and subcontractors and vendors, as well as your primes and public agencies. And so it was really a unique organization to come into because it incorporates all of these organizations. It is not only a networking organization, it also offers training. And so we were able to really invest our funds to help support HCC through the educational arm and help them to really put together a fantastic program that helps supports those small businesses. And so it offers so many different levels that is really unique. And I think is we're really lucky to have that in Colorado because, you know, throughout my traveling, I haven't come across another organization like this.
Great. Well, thank you both again for being here. And so tell us what you can about HCC. Oh, you're muted again, Rosy. You're still muted. Uh-oh. She's still muted.
Hey, Rosy, can you hear me?
Yes, I'm sorry about that.
Okay.
There we go.
Michelle, I was just saying, if you want to go ahead, but in front of you, you have, but you couldn't hear me. So in front of you, you have what our mission is. And this is really, you know, the core of what Hispanic Contractors of Colorado does. We're founded in 1990, you know, 30 years ago by a group of small contractors that were all Hispanic or Latino in origin. And basically, we have evolved to be one of the diversity leader organizations here in Colorado, because our diversity expands not only from racial and ethnicity, but it also expands to industries, different industries. We serve construction, transportation, construction-related services, and goods and services companies. So we have from the design build portion of a project all the way through, you know, putting the building up, you know, in place and things like that. But from that, you know, you can imagine, you know, there's marketing companies that can work in that process. There are printing companies that can work in that process, transportation companies for aggregates and things like that. I mean, there's all kinds of different companies that work with us, and the reason they come to us is because we are very diverse, not only in race and ethnicity, but we have a lot of women-owned businesses. We have veteran-owned businesses. So we have a group of different people. We also, because we're focused on commercial and public projects, we have built relationships with trade associations that are extremely important in town. Like, we're housed in the same building as AGC. So we have close ties with AGC, ABC, BCG, which is the Black Construction Group, COMTO, SMACNA, IECRM, and different groups that serve in different capacities, all these public and private projects. And so we work with them very closely. We are basically, just like Michelle said, the only construction association in the state of Colorado, and our goal is to expand the footprint that we have for HCC to other parts of the state. Another thing that Michelle was mentioning here, it's our educational arm, and that is Contractors Academy. And I'm going to let her talk a little bit about what Contractors Academy does and how they help our mission as well.
Absolutely. Thank you, Rosy. So the Contractor Academy is our education arm, and it's also our 501c3 of the HCC. And what the Contractor Academy does is it offers affordable training to not only our members, but it offers it for anyone who's interested in it. It's focused on construction-related programs. So when we're talking about contract review, it's about very specific to our industry, and it's taught by industry leaders. And so a lot of prime contractors like my organization that I work for, Swinnerton Builders, we just partnered with another contractor and we taught estimating boot camp. And I believe that was like a 4 or 5 hour class virtually, but they were able to really hone in on what are the challenges in estimating? What are they looking for during bid opportunities, and really take that time to work with those attendees to really get that information back from them. And then it also offers an opportunity for those businesses. They could send their employees to these programs, or if they're interested as an owner, they can attend. But it offers it at an affordable rate that they might not be able to get elsewhere. We're also Contractor Academy has also created a scaling program, and this is very unique, and it's been long process to develop. But what it's focusing on is developing those leaders. Like, how can you, as an owner, understand what type of a leader you are, so that this way you can grow your company from that $1 million company to a $2 million company, being able to get into the mindset of how am I communicating with my employees? What is my leadership style? And so really, and it's unique as a large firm, we tend to get a lot of those training programs available to us. But as a small business, that's not something that is in their wheelhouse or, available to them, or even knowing that they need it. So it's really have been a interesting process to see those small businesses that are in our first cohort and watching their development through this. So it's been really fantastic. It's helping them on their interviewing skills and, just some of those soft skills that you don't recognize, but you need as a leader, and helping them to grow that way.
Great.
Yeah.
So what you have in front of you is basically the things we do and the things we do the best. Networking is a big part of the things that we offer. So networking, and interestingly enough, networking is happening, virtually these days, right? So we have webinars, we have, sessions in which we have general membership meetings every month. That what we're doing is we're creating chat rooms separately so people can feel more confident about, talking to a smaller group of maybe 5 or 6 people instead of having 50 people all in one room and things like that. So the benefit of all these different sessions that we create is we create that connection with the public and private agents, the public agencies and the private corporations that a small business on its own would not be able to create. In terms of leadership development, I think Michelle just touched upon that. The committees that we have, Contractor Academy has that scaling program, but the Hispanic Contractors of Colorado has different committees that allow the members to be more active in the different areas. So we have an aviation committee, we have an infrastructure committee, we have a small business roundtable committee, we have women in leadership committee, we have a legislative committee that is very active, and a marketing and events and membership committee so all of these different committees, based on what your interest is as a member, you can go in and you can be a very active member of these committees, and then understand more about your industry, understand and grab those professional skills that you need, and even a couple of really good contacts in there. So that's how we do the leadership development. Contractor Academy, we just talked about that. And
actually, Rosy, can I add on the leadership?
Sure.
We also have a Hispanic Legacy Committee, and the importance of that program is because the original roots of HCC started as, a group of Hispanic contractors getting together. And so we have a committee that still focuses on the legacy of that. And what they've developed lately is they created a pilot program for future leaders. So we're really looking at how can we develop those young people who are just starting in their career and they're looking to get more involved. So it's a great way for a company to send one of their people to go through the program. It's kind of almost like the scaling where we're providing leadership skills, but the goal would be that they would want to how to become more invested in HCC and maybe go into becoming a future committee leader or board member. And then also we also provide a scholarship for LLI, which is the Latino Leadership Institute. And that's taken those middle management individuals who are active and helping them to develop their leadership skills so that they can grow within their own company, but also giving back to HCC, hoping that they will be a future board member as well. Because we're trying to, all of our presidents, as of, I believe there's 7 of us that are in HCC that have all graduated from the LLI program. The last 4 presidents, we are all LLI alums. And so that's part of the investment that HCC has put in, is helping to develop those future presidents and executives to really give them the skills for that. And then on the networking side, a big piece of that is we really focus on opportunities of how we can provide networking for small businesses, because a lot of the challenges that we see is they don't know where to start. Do I call this contractor? How do I just call, what do I do? I just pick up the phone and ask an estimator. We create these programs intentionally so that they have a group where they can speak to multiple primes or multiple public entities all at one place, or if they're looking for other subcontractors to partner with or engineer firms, to kind of eliminate them, because as a small business, they're limited on their overhead and their staff. They don't necessarily have the ability to have a full-time business development person knocking on doors. So being able to provide all of that in one location, helps them to really focus their time and, not having to worry about making multiple phone calls and not sure where that's going later.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'll let you continue, Rosy.
Yeah, no, perfect. Thank you. That was great. So I think we talked enough about Contractor Academy. It's a fantastic tool for us. It's our 501c3 arm. And, we have a great 4 classes and then the scaling program. And so the goal is to provide a lot of education in the construction industry. In terms of advocacy, we have the Legislative Policy Committee. We hope to be influential in terms of what are some of the changes that are coming down the pipeline in the construction industry in terms of new laws, new bills introduced. We want our membership to understand what the impact of those changes would be, not only in their society, in their landscape, but we want to make sure that they understand, what's going to happen to their pockets, because a lot of these bills affect them in the operational side. They affect them in the way they can do things, follow the law, follow the requirements from the state of Colorado side and things like that. So we want them to have a voice in it. We also want to make sure that we connect them with different organizations like Jobs for Colorado Coalition. We on the AGC side, Colorado Construction now, they have a career path development. So we want our members to be able to have that connection with other organizations that can help them in getting the best workforce that they can have, and also the tools internally so that they can have a good operation that they run.
Sure.
So I'm going to pull out.
And I'd like to also add on that, the advocacy, that this is the place where small businesses have a voice. They have a voice at the local, city, county, and state level where they may not know where to go. So this is the great opportunity where they're like, okay, this bill's coming out. What does this mean? HCC is able to not only talk to them and bring programs, but they're able to bring in representatives from the state and the city level to speak on their behalf and be able to have the small businesses voice how it's impacting them. And I think that's what's really important. And not only at that level, but also if there's challenges maybe working in the city or at the airport of, maybe it's just a process that's impacting them that the city or the airport doesn't recognize, that how it affects maybe smaller businesses. They're able to come to HCC and we can be their advocate and be able to bring that up and be able to bring in all those stakeholders from that city level and being able to give them that opportunity to say, hey, I don't know if you know about this, but this is how it's impacting our business because of maybe this process. And that is really the main point, a big part of that advocacy is we are the voice for those small businesses. This is where you can voice your concerns and we can, on their behalf, go out and bring in those stakeholders and help them bring it up and see if we can get that resolution for them.
Great explanation. Thank you for that presentation. So you kind of already discussed this, but I think you may have already answered this. But there's the small businesses that are trying to get contracts with public entities and large corporations. What do you do specifically to help them with that? I know you talked about the advocacy, and that's a huge part of it. Is there anything else you want to add to that?
Yeah. So in terms of our membership and the demographics that they have, we open their eyes to basically how to get certified as a disadvantaged business enterprise, or how to get certified as a minority women business enterprise or a small business enterprise, and what are the benefits of being certified? I mean, we don't want that just to hang on the wall and as a diploma, right? You don't want your college diploma to be hanging on your wall. You want to go and find a job from that, right? So that's exactly what we help them find. We help them find that opportunity for minority-owned companies to be working in some of the public entities projects that they have in the pipeline. We also want them to be able to work with general contractors like Swinnerton, like, some of the other GCs that we have in our membership. We want them to have that pathway so they feel confident of going into some of these projects and being able to perform to the best of their abilities and things like that. So that's how we help them. In terms of our membership, 62% of the members are small, minority, women-owned and in construction businesses, 62%. We have about 160 members, and that's kind of like the statistics that we have so far in that. And then just connecting them with the public and private construction opportunities. That's how we help them.
Yep. Rosy and Michelle, this is Derrick, and I just wanted to add on to what both of you guys have been sharing. One of the interesting things about working with these projects in the city, we get to see all of the projects. And so one of the things that I've been so pleasantly surprised with HCC is that networking that you talk about, because we've had a chance to actually attend one of you guys' quarterly meetings, and well, I'll just be honest. Beside the food is always awesome, but it is that networking that occurs, because it's interesting to see competitors really become cooperative with each other, and I think some of that happens as a result of the work that you guys have done in representing not just, and I'll be candid, Hispanic contractors, but I go to your meetings, I see groups and folks from the Black contractors group and other groups as well. So it's, in some ways, it's become that umbrella for everybody to kind of connect to and get good information from. And one other thing that you talked about is the legislative piece, because a part of the world that we live in municipalities is tied to city council and legislative affairs. And I remember at the meeting we were in, you actually had someone at the meeting giving an update about current legislation that's working its way through the Colorado House, and soliciting comments and inputs from folks about how that may impact them. So I've witnessed it firsthand, and so I really do appreciate and value all the work that you guys are doing. So thank you for doing what you do.
Well, thank you very much. And HCC, we made it our mission. We created the tagline several years ago now, a diversity leader, and that is really our mission statement. When we look at our future board members, when we look at the demographics of not only of race and gender, but also of job descriptions, making sure that we're bringing people in from owners to an HR representative to marketing manager to really make sure that we're incorporating as many different voices at the table. And that's our number one goal, is to always making sure that we bring that inclusivity to our team so that we can always be at the forefront of making those changes and making sure that we do represent our community.
Yeah, that's great. So there's a number of grants and loan opportunities out there for the small and minority businesses. How are you getting the word out, and how are you helping them connect to those opportunities?
Sure, Michelle, if you don't mind, I take that one.
Yeah, go ahead. So
on the operational side, John, we have a consistent weekly newsletter. And that newsletter, it keeps getting longer and longer because we have a lot of information that we want to share with our membership. But we share not only educational webinars and topics of interest, but we share what's happening with the PPP loans, what's happening with the equal pay issues, what's happening with access to capital. I was telling you before, I have a really strong connection with the CDFIs in town. And, having a direct connection with all those micro lenders and putting it at the disposal of the HCC members is my goal. We also have different committees do different sessions. So, for example, just to give you an example, the Infrastructure Committee and the Small Business Roundtable Committee are working in a session that is called BidNet. BidNet is a system in which a lot of the different contract opportunities get into, and then people can do a search by work code, NAIC code, and things like that. So we want to put that information in front of our members because we want them to know how to find those opportunities. Not only put their name out there and their beautiful face out there, but also how to jump on the on the train of finding those opportunities. Another thing that we're doing is in terms of the PPP loans. You've seen these, people are getting their PPP loan, and then how do I process my forgiveness? And that's a huge part of it. Right now, businesses are in rebuild mode. Nobody wants to have just another loan under your belt that you have to pay at the end of the period. That's the last thing that you want, right? So one of the sessions we're putting together in front of the public, of the membership from the Small Business Roundtable Committee is forgiveness. How do you process your forgiveness? What are some of the things that you have to watch for, and how can you get that forgiveness to the maximum percentage of forgivable loan that you can? So those are some of the things that we're doing, and with that, building a relationship for our members with banks, with micro lenders, and CDFIs and things like that.
Okay. You touched. Oh, did you want to add something, Michelle?
Well, I kind of want to just add real quick is over the last year, we really focused on revamping our communications program. So you probably see us everywhere. I hope you do. We created a newsletter that we send out regularly. We post things on our social media channels. So we're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook, as well as we also revamped our website, and to make it really more easy for people to find that information. So when we do find out about grant information or PPE loans, or if we're teaching a class, we try to reach out in as many ways to communicate it in those multiple facets, as well as creating flyers and then sharing it with our partners, such as sending it to the DIDO or DOTI programs or RTD or all those agencies where we have contacts, asking them to reshare with their contacts. So we're trying to not only share with our members, but also the community at large to show this is what we have available to you. We're here for everyone in our industry and trying to help them.
Well, let me make this offer, and I'm going to offer up John as usual. I'm always offering him up for work, but if there's anything that you guys have that you want to get out and get the word out, we're more than happy to include whatever materials you guys have in our newsletters, any promotional materials that we come up with. So we want to help you spread the word. So
Fantastic.
Feel free. And John does all of our newsletters and all of our publications. So I'm just volunteering him. But
well, I know I had your boot camp, your estimating boot camp on the newsletter.
Yeah.
This past month. So
for this past Saturday, yes.
Right,
yes,
right,
thank
exactly.
You. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Well, we have a few of them, and that's the last slide that I'll share with you at the end. But we do have some cybersecurity for construction companies, which is super interesting. Like nobody thinks about cyber, and cyber attacks are more prevalent in companies that are small to medium size, just because they don't have those safety, security, stops as a big company like a GC or something like that. So it's interesting.
Exactly. Well, I do, I have a couple more questions for you, and I'm sure Derrick does too. But I do want to go back before we end this. I know you have a slide too on how they can contact you and your Twitter and all that kind of thing. So I want to make sure we get to that as well, as along with your events. So I just wanted to touch on real quick. You've already kind of talked about this, but what kind of trends do you see, and what are the most common issues that you're seeing right now facing today's workers?
Yeah, so from our organization and from a lot of the 501c6 organizations in town, I mean, we're facing recovering from a recession. basically. So because what happened is COVID got here in 2020, and most of us were getting together in person. All of us were doing, in-person training. We were doing in-person, happy hours and things like that. So a lot of us are in rebuilding mode. Now, what COVID has brought to us is we're trying to determine how to remain relevant, because a lot of the perspective on everybody, on me, our families and everything, is it kind of made us think about what are the real important things, right? Mm-hmm. And what am I learning? Am I really spending my time the right way? And so that's what, as an organization, we want to remain relevant. We want to serve our members, and we want to also serve our community. We were, from the very, very beginning, we were determined an essential workforce, which is really interesting. And so for that, what we were challenged with is how to keep our workers safe, how to keep our clients safe, how to keep our organizations working so they don't have to stop, and how do we continue with their operations? How do we help them continue with their operations? So we created a manual, a safety manual. We did it in English, we did it in Spanish. So the trends that we see right now, John, is we just want to remain relevant. We want to create events, and we want to create sessions that are of value to our members. This shook us all basically the same way, but we want to make sure that what we're putting in front of them is going to be something significant, and is going to help them remain in operations and keep their doors open. That's exactly what we're seeing here.
Great.
One of the things that we've seen, we recently did a survey, and one of the things that we recently received as result on that survey was people were very concerned about how do I get work in the door so I can keep my workers busy, so I can keep my workers engaged, busy here, and I can keep my doors open. That was the number one concern for our members. Meeting new clients, how to keep employees working and engaged, and how do I work with less staff? Because in many situations they had to reduce their staff. And so you're putting, on top of everything, you're putting a lot more work on the shoulders of your workers. So that was another concern that they have. Obviously, financial challenges were always there. Staffing challenges and safety challenges. Those were at the forefront of the responses that we received. So in terms of trends, I think Michelle has something that she would like to share, but 2021, it's a challenging year. A lot of companies towards the end of 2020, they were like, oh yeah, we're still busy. This is great. Recession, what do you mean? And then at the beginning of 2021, we were like, goodness, what's coming to us? So Michelle, do you want to talk a little bit about that? Because I think you see it firsthand.
Yeah, so just to add on to that, we're just trying to come up with of ways to help our members and small businesses, focused on how do you find that work. We're currently working with the Small Business Roundtable Committee to create a leads group for them. So this way that, trying to help teach them to look at pursuing opportunities more in a long-term effect. Okay, that way that as they're pursuing work, they can make their contacts more intentional and be able to identify that immediate work. So we're trying to, how do we work with them, and are there opportunities that we could offer training for them? So I think that's one that we've identified that we're going to be working on. And we're also recognizing that companies are starting to open up more and more, especially maybe starting this summer, We have an upcoming class that we're going to be working on is what does that look like? You're opening up. What are some steps that you need to follow? Helping providing any safety training for them, providing resources. I think that's the biggest challenge is where do you get vaccinated? So we're working with various public entities and resources in the community. We're going to bring them to an upcoming meeting so that we can provide that service to them so that this way their questions can be answered, because I think that's depending on what city or county you live in, there's just a lot of different information out there, and those are the things that we're trying to identify and help bring to the forefront for them.
Great. It sounds like you're addressing all the needs that you're hearing out there. So that's fantastic. Mm-hmm. That's fantastic. Derrick, do you have any questions that you'd like to?
One of the questions I've got is really what can we do as a partner, from the city, because I hear a lot of what you're saying about some of the struggles that contractors are having, just keeping enough work going to keep their people employed. I surely understand that, and that's in some ways the nature of construction is you're chasing that job to make sure you keep your people busy and working. So so a part of that is just a part of the business. But what can we do as the city? If you had a magic wand and you could wave that, how could we be better partners to HCC? Have you thought about that? What would that look like for you guys?
A couple of them. I'm trying to think a couple ideas off the top of my head. One would be obviously those opportunities. I know with the city, it's always a challenge because a lot of your work's based off of, the release of funds and when things are coming out. And people, companies want to know, when is something going to start, so I know when to start really engaging in it. Is that something that's going to start soon within that year, or is that really something that's further off? And I understand projects get pushed off to next quarter, but I think just helping to keep that information relevant is on timely, when those opportunities can be released, being able to share it from all levels, from the architect, and you guys do a good job because I know it's advertised, but how can we, stay more engaged to give our people an more immediate, here's opportunities for architectural services, or because sometimes we'll attend meetings you should have been, that happened in this phase, you should have been more, it's already passed, and unfortunately now we're in the construction phase. So it's helping us to work on that lead development so that they can help track those projects at an early stage, and recognizing how, the timing of it, because I think that's what they need to know is, when can I put people to work? Is this an opportunity? And maybe connecting with those architectural firms that were awarded the job, or those GCs, helping maybe that engagement. We have a lot of great, fantastic primes already with HCC, but we're not necessarily partners with all the architects or all the big construction management firms either. Again, trying to get their more involvement would be great as well, and helping us to share that upcoming opportunities with our people that are members and just small businesses in general.
Okay, wonderful.
And Derrick, I'm going to bring it down a little bit. I think Michelle's perspective is really interesting. She sees it more from a GC perspective, and I'm going to bring us down to the small guy. And so, how can you be a partner? And I'm not sure if this exists or not in the city system, but for me, there's a lot of different companies that we have that do the same thing, either janitorial, landscape, small construction and things like that. So having a preferred vendor list or a pre-qualified list for all of your smaller contracts, and I'm talking about
Like
either on-call
yeah.
type of thing, either even below the PO level, whatever it is, but something like that, it would be super great. Because and then having a rotational system, so you're not using the same guys over and over again. So giving the smaller guys the opportunity to perform and to show you that they do perform up to your standards. And just having a list of those pre-qualified vendors, having them make sure that they are registered with the state of Colorado, that they have their tax licenses, they have the whole thing, but just creating a pre-qualifying system in which I don't know, maybe for each one of your work codes, you have 50 companies, and then you have like a rotational system, and you give the opportunity to each one of them. Obviously, there's going to be some that are going to be performing better than others, but I like that competition. I like, I like being the best.
Well, and you know how construction works, because if you get somebody that's working well for you on this project, you're probably going to want them to work for you on the next project and the next project. And so, but giving those small businesses the opportunity to get in, to show what they can do. I hear what you're sharing with us, and I will take this back to our leadership, and they'll view this video as well. So it's not like they're not going to hear it directly from you guys. So thank you for sharing that.
And I think that certification process is kind of like a way to do that and create your list and everything. But sometimes certifications are tough for these guys. Sometimes these guys don't have the paperwork that needs to be required. Like in terms of having an accounting system that's going to spit out a P&L or a balance sheet. They may not have that.
They're wearing a lot of hats.
So this would be something like a little bit more on a friendly basis of creating this pre-qualified list of people that can work for you.
Sure.
Great.
I have a question for you. Is there a cost to a company or a cost to an employee to use your organization?
Yes, John, we do have. We are a 501c6, so we have a membership levels and different things. But because we recognize that how important it is for smaller companies to have the opportunity to join, we have a 1-person membership fee. We have a 2 to 20 people membership fee, and then from there on it just kind of goes up and up and up and up depending on the type of company that you are and how many employees you have.
Gotcha. Okay.
We also have the opportunity that for Contractors Academy, people don't need to be members of HCC to attend the classes, and those classes can vary from $25 to $75. I think our boot camps that are 3 to 4 hours are $75, which is an amazing value,
compared to our industry. It's a really great price, and we offer those affordable rates because we have great organizations that are larger that pay those platinum and gold and silver rates. They're paying more because their organizations support diversity and inclusiveness. And because of their support, we're able to provide really affordable rates for those small businesses to become members.
Okay, great. Rosy, I'd like you to, if you don't mind, pull up your presentation again, because I think, I want to make sure that everybody gets your contact information. And then I know you have a slide on some upcoming events that I think I'd like to get out there as well.
Thank you, John. So you have right there in front of you, we have the phone number for the office is not here, but I can very quickly give it to you. Is 303-893-3893, and our email is info@hcc-diversityleader.org, and that's our domain. That's where you can go to our website and check out all the classes that we have. You can also check out the committees that we have, and then it also has a link if you want to become a member. Definitely is hcc-diversityleader.org.
Right.
You know, we have 4 different avenues to connect with us: Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Instagram as well. And then we also have the upcoming events, and this is really, I think this is going to be super cool. The session we have tomorrow, the HCC's Women in Leadership, this series with Jennifer Porter, we have about, gosh, close to 40 people, Michelle, if you
Oh,
can believe
nice.
it, attending this,
Yeah.
and it's a two-part workshop. So if you pay, you know, the $50, it basically is allowing you to attend the session tomorrow and then the session on May 15. Super, super interesting. Jennifer has, it's a very dynamic presenter. And then the next one is Tuesday, March 30th, the cybersecurity for construction companies, the one I was telling you about. Very interesting. You know, a lot of people don't give a thought about cybersecurity and what that means, but it can really, you know, we saw it with the CDOT issue. I don't know if you guys knew about that, but a few years ago, CDOT got ransom, and it just stops your operation, like, you know, right there. There's nothing else you can do. And so cybersecurity is really, really important. And then we have a lunch and learn on April 14th for PPP forgiveness and how to get prepared for that forgiveness and things like that. And this is a great presenter that I know, Corey Arcariz from Colorado Enterprise Fund, one of the CDFIs in town. Then after that, our GMM healthcare update, really interesting. Michelle and I are working on some of the speakers, but we have a couple already lined up that are going to be amazing. Very, very good. And then April 30th, we received a large donation from AT&T for PPP equipment for companies. And so we created bundles and we're giving out PPP equipment to 75 companies. And then we're also creating a mini contractor, general contractor fair where these small businesses can talk to 10 of the general contractors that we have in our membership. So it's going to be a beautiful day. It's a Friday. You know, you can get your jeans, go get your PPE, and then talk to your general contractors. So,
Great.
So an in-person event.
it's an in-person event. That's right.
Rarity. And for those that might be watching this video past these dates, I'm sure some of these are some ongoing topics or something that you'll be covering again sometime in the future. So I would just suggest them to reach out to you and find out, you know, the next time that you might be offering something on these topics.
Absolutely.
So is there anything else that you'd like to share with our audience about it? You know, you just went through all the upcoming events. I really appreciate that. Is there any closing things you want to say?
I just want to say, you know, join us. You know, you don't have to join us immediately. I can comp your participation in some of the events, and you can get to feel what the organization is all about. But one of the things I can tell you, you know, I used to be a small business owner and I joined a lot of chambers of commerce, and the ones where I got the most value is the ones where I was very involved. And I set the time apart to go to their meetings, to talk to their members, and those were the ones that gave me a more effective positive effect in my operation. And I found new clients and I found, you know, different things. And so join us. We're here to help you. We're here to stay.
Right.
Yeah, I would echo the same, what Rosy just mentioned. We have some great committees and they're very active. And whether you're an owner and you want to attend, or if you want to send one of your employees to attend, there's a variety of them. They're working committees. And so we really want to see some action from it. It's not just, you know, sit around and talk about it. We want to see results from it. And, you know, we're really committed in supporting everyone. If you're a small business, I highly encourage you to check out our Small Business Roundtable Committee. They are the boots on the ground and really trying to make a lot of changes. And, you know, they're your advocate to help you in many ways. And and help guide you around. So I encourage you to check them out.
Great. Well, thank you both again, Derrick, if you want to say anything, but I want to say thank you both for taking the time to sit down with us and tell us about your organization and all the wonderful programs that you are offering to a much needed group.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Derrick, John. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
I appreciate you inviting us.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.